be more than happy to help you understand that a little better, because it's it's definitely something to know about. I mean, if you've got your Ukon going, you want to build everything under that Ukon position.
Yeah.
I've only got one cell under my main machine position, but I've got like 23 under my Ukon.
Yeah, that's the way we've done it too, because I've got the SD501, and then we put the Ukon under that, and then I put everything else under the Ukon.
And there's a train of thought out there that says you should buy your Ukon first and then put your machine under your Ukon. But the problem with doing that is that you have to, in order to get the bonus commission, which is the extra $50, you have to get a sale every 90 days. Where if you put your machine in first and then you put your Ukon in second, then you don't have to get that sale every 90 days to get that extra $50 bonus commission. And so that's really the biggest difference right there, is because your Ukon is renewing every 4 months. And so that basically takes care of you're having to get a sale every 90 days. And, so it's kind of interesting. There's some really interesting little nuances to the marketing plan. And
yeah. Does that change? Does that change though? Because I do my Ukon annually, so I guess that wouldn't apply to me, or does it?
It doesn't. Yeah, and if you do it annually, you save like $400.
Yeah,
it's $2,000, I think, for the Ukon if you buy it once a year. If you buy it every 4 months, it ends up being about $2,400.
Yeah, but then you get that sale every 90 days.
Yeah. And well, if you buy it annually, then it just takes care of that. You don't have to get the sale every 90 days, because if you don't get that sale every 90 days, if you're running it differently, if you don't get that sale every 90 days, then what happens is you get instead of getting a $285 commission on the sale of an SD501 in your group, you only get $235. And that $50, you don't end up getting that $50.
Yeah.
Which, hey, $50 is $50, and it's like I've my Ukon position is a 3A, and my machine position is a 1A. And see, this is the thing. Once I get 51 sales in my Ukon position, then it's going to count. Then it counts as double sales. So all I'll have to do, once I get 50 sales under my Ukon position, then the next sale I get, I'm going to put underneath my machine position, and that will automatically jump me up to 6A because it counts as 2 sales. So you get to 6A with 51 sales instead of 101.
Didn't know that. Yeah, see, this is where I think a lot of the information that's out there kind of leaves just a lot of questions, and like these are some of the questions that I have, and the little tricks of the trade, that's where guys like me starting out, I'm just now starting to get the ball rolling, and it's like, okay, how do I strategize to set myself up for just a better future, and maybe not so much legwork.
Yeah,
a lot of little tricks.
The thing about it is that guys like us, we're going to continue to do this forever. I'm going to be sharing this water for the rest of my life. I'm going to be sharing this company, sharing this water. And so I'm not concerned about a sale every 90 days, because I sure hope I can get a sale every 90 days. I want to get a sale once a week is what I really want. That's ultimately my goal, is to land a sale every, once a week. And I really think it's just a matter of time, because as people get to know more about this, it's just going to be something that everybody's going to know about, everybody's going to want. And it's just like the other day when our Anespa arrived, the FedEx guy that delivered it, I ended up prospecting him. He ended up joining my back office through the EWS website. and now he's in the recruitment process. He's a young kid, 29 years old.
Nice.
And he took my card and went to my site and watched the video that I have up there, which is the one that Sharon Menard did. She did a like an 11.5-minute video that I thought was really good. And so I decided to put that up there instead of the one that was up there, the 9.5 video that basically goes on everybody's site by default.
Yeah.
I just switched it out because you can actually put up whatever video you want if you have a certain level. Like, it only costs me $8 a month to be able to switch out my videos.
Nice.
But I need to upgrade. I want to upgrade to the one that has an auto responder in it and a capture page, so that everybody that comes to the site, it's got a thing for them to put in their email, their name, their phone number, and they click on that and it puts them into the follow-up sequence, so that they start getting an email every 2-3 days that's got some new something about the company, the products, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, just all you got to do really is just build underneath your UCOM position. Just keep everything, anybody you sign up, put them under your UCOM position. If you've already signed up people underneath your machine position, that's fine. Just don't put any more under there until you get to like once you get to 20 sales, then your 21st sale will boost you up to 3A. And so that's, on my 20th sale, because I was putting some people underneath other people. And this is another thing that's interesting, is now there's a new thing where you can be you can sponsor somebody and you can put them underneath somebody else, and you still get credit for that as a personal sale, that 90-day personal sale. So you can, because I've taken and signed up a bunch of my people under my people.
Yeah.
And before that, when you do that, you don't get credit for the personal sale, the direct sale.
Yeah.
Where now there's a section for the referrer and a section for the sponsor. So you can be the referrer and your person can be the sponsor, and you get credit for a direct sale. So that direct sale goes towards your 90 days, towards your markup, and that kind of thing. So you can put a sale underneath other people to go towards your 20 sales, to rank up, but you're not going to rank up until you do a direct sale underneath that. And then that ranks you up. So you got 20 sales under your UCOM position. Your UCOM position is still going to be at 2A until you do a direct sale underneath that UCOM position, and then bam, it goes up to 3A. And so you're getting 3 points on your UCOM position and 1 from your machine. So every time you make a sale, you're getting 4 points.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And so now with my sweetie being underneath me and under my UCOM position with the Inespa, and now the K8 that she bought that's going under that. So what's going to happen is she's got that Inespa position, and I'm going to get 4 points off of that Inespa position, and then I'm going to get 4 points also off of the K8 position, and she is going to get 2 points, or no, she's just going to get 1 because she's going to be under her Inespa. So when she sells that, she sold that K8 to herself, so she's going to get a $340 commission for that K8 because it went under her Inespa. And then what this is going to do for us is now we've got, as soon as we get the K8, we now have a loaner machine.
Nice.
We're going to use our SD501 as a loaner. We're going to let people use it for 30 days at a time. Sometimes maybe more, depending on the person and their situation. We might let them use it for 90 days. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to turn this thing into a loaner machine. And then what's going to happen is everybody that uses the loaner machine and buys themselves a machine, we're going to take out all of those people and put them under Tina. And so, you know, once she gets one more sale underneath that an SBA position. Okay, so she's got a K8, so that's her first sale. Once we sell one more machine underneath her K8, then that'll make her an SBA position 2A. So an SBA will be 2A. Her machine position will be 1A, and so she'll get 3 points every time she sells a machine.
Yeah.
And that way, you know, I'll be getting 4 points, she'll be getting 3 points. That's 7 points on every machine we sell.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you know, and then there's also the other part of this compensation plan that is so freaking cool that I've never seen before in any company I've ever been involved with. And that is, once you know, your ultimate goal, people get into this business and their main goal when they start is to get to 6A. Your main goal needs to be to get to 6A2. That needs to be your goal, not getting to 6A. You want to have a goal of getting to 6A2. Because once you get to 6A2, that means you've helped 2 other people in your group get to 6A as well. Okay? And once you get to that 6A2 position, now you're in the bonus program. Now you're getting a share of every machine that sells on the planet. And that's incredible, dude, because when you look at what it actually takes to get to that, you've only got to get you've got to get 2 people that get to that position in your group. You know, you need to get you need to get 2 6As in your group, and then you need to help them get 2 6As in their group. And now you're at 6A2-2 and 6A2-3. And once you get to that position, you get like a $25,000 bonus. You get $5,000 a month for the rest of your life. Plus you get a share of the worldwide sales every quarter. And so it's so incredible. It gives us this incentive to not only help our own teams, but it gives us this incentive to help other people. Because once you reach that level, man, it doesn't matter who's selling a machine, where it's being sold, you're getting a piece of it. And from what I understand, what an Enagic does is they pull out $24 on every sale that happens in the world, and they put it into this little fund, and then every quarter they divide it amongst all the 6A2s and above. And everybody that's 6A2 and above gets a little piece of that pie. You know, and it's like what's her name? All of a sudden I can't think of her name, but her group is selling 6,200 machines a month.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. She's making so dang much money. I think she's making, you know, like $5,000 a day. Every day she's getting checks in the mailbox that are totaling $5,000 or more.
Yeah.
She doesn't. Cynthia Berganti is her name.
Mm.
And she's from the Philippines.
Mm.
I mean, she's one of the top money earners in this company, and she's from the Philippines. She lives in San Diego now, but
Funny that you mentioned the Philippines. I was having a conversation last night with one of the families that are coming in, and they're renting, and their house was recently remodeled. I'm sure you had this problem before with these hard granite countertops that, you know, no one wants to drill into or whatever, and they've got these fancy faucets that may or may not be have an adapter available from Ion Faucet. You know, we're trying to figure that out. But they're saying that they're going to have to move before they get a machine, because none of the faucets are compatible with these devices. You know, that's what they're thinking. And my response was simply, some of the poorest villages, you know, like the Philippines, a way to get these machines going. So if they can, I'm sure we can else out, you know, whether we're using the outside water hose as an inline source somehow, or, you know, doing something, you know. But if there's a will, there's a way. And if the water's working and you're feeling good, then you better find a way. And but then now you mentioned the Philippines, you know, and this gal, I don't know her story. I didn't even know her name before you mentioned it. But if she started out in the Philippines and she's, you know, selling, you know, that many machines and helping that many people, then by golly, there has to be a way, you know. And these people, you know, they're saying, oh, I can't get a machine until I move. But, you know, that's obviously not true. So we just have to stress that a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, this is like I've said before, this is an incredible, the company, Mr. Oshiro's vision, you know, what he's put together with this thing is just absolutely mind boggling. Not only do we have a product that every single person on this planet needs, that hardly anybody has at this point. You know, right now we're sitting at less than 1/3 of 1% market penetration here in the United States. And then we have a product that has zero competition in the world. Zero. There's nothing out there like this product. And there's a whole bunch of people out there going, yeah, we're just as good as Kong, you know. Mm-hmm. No, they're not. You know, I even saw a thing yesterday, dude, on YouTube. I was searching Tom Brady and Kangen water. And I found a video up there where some Tyant distributor has got a video up there talking about saying that Tom Brady owns a Tyant machine. And that's why he's so great, is he drinks Tyant's alkaline water. And I posted, there were no comments on that post, and I posted on it and I said, bullshit. Tom Brady drinks Kangen water. The NFL did a big expose on him last year, big video that was about 40 minutes long, basically talking about his longevity and what an incredible athlete, you know, that he's the greatest of all time, because he is. And they have a scene in that video where he's in his kitchen making up a smoothie, and you see his SD501 Platinum sitting right there on his countertop.
Yeah.
He drinks Kangen water. He doesn't drink that. He doesn't use that piece of garbage Tyant machine. Those things are garbage, man. They're one thing people need to understand about our so-called competitors out there is that they're actually doing a disservice to this industry, because their machines are flat out garbage. Their plates are mostly mesh. Their plates don't have the power that they need. And, you know, like Tim McGaffin, my sponsor, he put up a video the other day that was showing the insides of one of these machines while it was running, and you could see the damn thing sparking, you could see it arcing, you could see it smoking. I mean, and like these, I'll tell you what, you want some poisoning, try some titanium poisoning. Try some platinum poisoning. Yeah. Because they're making their plates out of garbage, and they don't have, they're not nearly the surface area, nearly the quality of plate. And these piece of crap mesh plates that are supposed to be so efficient, these things freaking practically melt, and they scorch. And when that titanium and platinum gets scorched, guess what's getting into your water?
Yeah.
I mean, not to mention the mold and stuff, but these machines that these people are out there selling are actually harming people. And they're doing just like what Dr. Michael talked about in his original video about the competition, where he says, you know, I was an incredible opponent of alkaline water. I was a big time opponent of it. because
Yeah.
I owned 8 different water ionizers and they were all garbage. None of them did what they were supposed to do. None of them helped my daughter. I was against it. And then his one of his either his nurses or one of his clients, whatever, at his facility, she got mad at him and she said, Dr. Michael, Skylar doesn't need to suffer just because you're such a stonehead or something like that. You know, she got all mad at him and he said, oh, she's okay. Bring me some water.
Yeah.
And she went
Well,
and got me some water and
what I'm reminded of, and I mean, I've heard Dr. Michael's story and I know I'm familiar with what you're saying. But, you know, in his defense, he was probably shopping on Google. And that's the problem, is we're getting all of our information from sources that are not credible. And I think we need to zoom out. You know, I think we're so far zoomed in that we can't even really see what the picture is. You know how like those things where it's like, let's zoom out and see what it is. It ends up being like a leaf. And when it's so zoomed in, you can't even hardly tell what it is. And it's like, oh, wow, it's a leaf. And that's what it is, because we're so zoomed in on, you know, we're watching the commercials. We're using Google to do our shopping. We're doing Amazon. I think YouTube is the second popular search engine. Google is the first. And both of them are so biased and so corrupt, and they use these algorithms to skew the information, and it's whoever pays the most money gets their stuff at the top. Like with the juice bar, I mean, I do it all the time. I sponsor my posts, I pay the money, and my posts are at the top of your news feed every time. You know, you're seeing what I want you to see. And so, and I'm small time. I'm a small business. I don't have millions of dollars to spend on advertisement, but I bet you what, if I did, I can guarantee that my water ionizers are going to be at the top of your search engine every single time. And so, of course, that's what's going to happen. And if we're using these very biased, very controlled, very corrupt resources, then that's the type of information that we're going to get back. And what happened, what you said, right, Dr. Michael was doing all this research and he spent all this money on all these ionizers. None of them worked. But what happened? Word of mouth. Someone that he knew personally, someone that knew Skylar personally and cared about Skylar and Dr. Michael and said, listen, you don't have to be stubborn. Skylar doesn't have to suffer because you're too stubborn. What did he do? He set his stubbornness aside. He followed the passion of the person that he knew personally, and he tried the Kangen water, and now look at Skylar. She's going to grow up to be happy and healthy, God willing. But the point is these Google searches are killing us and us because they're going these machines, going with these lesser models that claim to be as good as Enagic. They're riding Enagic's coattails, and that's all they can do. And they can only do it for so long because people like you and people like me, we're going to get the truth out. And unfortunately, some people, they're going to buy the machines that aren't, you know, and in 2 years, they're going to get sick again, or their machines are going to, you know, not hold up to their warranty, or they're going to call customer service and they're not going to be able to get through, or they're going to say whatever, and then they're going to end up the Enagic anyways. And so that's like buying the Hyundai and eventually going for the Honda when you should have went for the Honda from day one, and we all know it, you know. And it's just a hard lesson for some people to learn. But I use Honda as an example. Honda, Toyota, Subaru, Sony, you know, all these companies we're very familiar with, and we trust them. We trust them in all aspects of our lives, you know. A lot of our kids, the first car we buy our daughter is what? A Honda or a Toyota or a Subaru, because it's safe, it's reliable, and it's going to, and we know it. Same thing with Enagic, but yet we're settling for these Google scams, these YouTube scams, and we're going to end up suffering, you know, in the long run. And so it really frustrates me. I just lost a family that I really did care about. I was sharing water with them for several years, or not years, gosh, not years, months. They recently, you know, they did all their research, never once came to me, and, you know, they kept telling me, oh, you know, we're going to wait for our tax return. We're going to wait for our tax return. and they got their tax return, and then we never saw them, you know, for several weeks. And somebody said something about how these Kangen water machines, you have to add calcium in order to make it work. You add chemicals, and they didn't want to add chemicals, and shame on me for not doing a better job of educating them, you know, but now I know. And they ended up going with a different company, and it really hurts my heart because I know the stories that they shared, you know, the personal stories about the struggles that they've had over the last few years with different things. And once they started sharing water, those struggles started to fade, and they started to experience a better quality of life. And I didn't do a good enough job educating them, and they're going to end up suffering because they made an investment in a company that doesn't really care about their health. You know, they made an investment in a company that claims to be as good as a Nagic. But I mean, Bob Wright even said in the interview that you had with him and Dr. Michael, he said, you know, send me your ionizer, send me your water. I'll put it to the test. And if it holds up and it shows the same results as Kangen water, then I'll put it in my chapter 6 of my book. You know, I'm not biased. I'm just sharing what I know to be true that works. And that's all he's doing. And bless him and all his work that he's put in, because nobody is sending him any of their water, and none of the results can even compare. And so, you know, and these families, they're going to ultimately, you know, regret their decision. And I hope that, you know, they feel compelled to come to me, you know, even though I sort of in a way let them down. But, you know, that's it. Just live and learn.
Yeah. You know what I would do if I were you in that particular situation is I'd use that as a learning platform and also something to help teach them. I would ask them if I could come over and you know, just let them know that, you know, they bought another machine and you'd love to do some comparisons, you know, see if you can get them to let you actually compare the water. You know,
that's a good idea.
Water out of their machine, take some of your water over there, take your ORP meter,
yeah,
you know, take that kind of stuff and say, hey, you know, you got this machine. It's an awesome machine. I want to learn about it. Can I come and do some testing and do some comparing? You know, because just go at it this way. Hey, you know, truth is if your machine's just as good as my machine, then you know, I'd love to give that as an option to people.
Yeah,
because I'm here to help people. I'm not here to, you know, the money is great, but that's not the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so you got this other machine. I'd sure love the opportunity to put it to the test a little bit and find out exactly what you bought, because there might be people out there who they need, you know, they need a machine, and if your machine is cheaper and it does the exact same thing that Kong does, and we can help people. And you know, and I know right out of the chute that this is not the case. But once they actually see it and they see the difference, then there's going to be a big, because I'll tell you this right now, brother, that machine they bought, it isn't going to last more than a year. And it'll be snapping, crackling, and popping and smoking, and it'll be toast in a heartbeat. And it's not going to solve any of their issues, because the water that those things produce, it's not electrolyzed reduced water. And so it's just a matter of time, brother, where they're going to look back at it and go, dang it, that was a stupid mistake, you know, and yeah, David, we're going to need to get a Kong machine from you. But I would definitely keep that avenue open. You know, let them, you know, congratulate them that they made a decision to get this kind of water, and you'd love to learn a little bit more about it, because you know, you already know what you need to know, but they don't need to know that. You want to try and use it to your advantage, and you want to make sure that you film it, and that way you can get it out here. We can do some real life comparisons. I know that's what I'm going to do. I tried to do that. I had one of my prospects buy like a Tyant machine or something like that, and he ended up sending it back. He didn't even hook the dang thing up. But I told him, you know, that's great. You got one. Awesome, man. I want to come down and do some tests. Can I bring the ORP meter down and let's do some tests. I want to do some comparisons, and let's see what you did buy. see if your thing does what our thing does. But
See,
I guess
the problem with that though, JJ, and I mean, I know that, you know, we could find arguments or things to just go back and forth about, but if, like, the truth is these machines, you know, these competitors, they probably do well in the beginning, you know, they probably do all right, you know, they'll get the ORP and you'll get the alkaline in your first, you know, couple months, but then once that warranty expires, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, is we've got these SD501s that are 25 years old still being used to this day. And I would, you know, like to maintain relationships with some of these people, but the truth is in a year or two, when, you know, and a lot of it is the water source. You know, we're here on city water, and the area that we live in, the water is really, really, really poor quality. And so that machine that they have, you know, it might withstand, you know, for a few years in the springs of Mount Shasta, where the water is, you know, crystal clear and you know, minimal imperfections. But I'll tell you, that's not where we live. And you can smell the chemicals in the water when you get it from the tap. And so I don't even know if they're getting if they have a pre-filter, but I can tell you right now off the bat, this city water is going to destroy that machine. And in a year, you know, they're definitely going to be wishing that they hadn't settled for less.
Yeah. Did you see the video we did with Sam where he cut apart the filters?
Yeah, I did. That was really interesting. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the epitome of what Kangen water is all about. Everything we do is just super high quality, above and beyond anything else that's out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, here's another thing that this is something that's really important to remember about all these leeches. We call them leeches. That's what Gerald Kostica came up with. We call them leeches. And, you know, if you do a Google search for Kangen water, the first three things that come up are paid advertisements from our competitors.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he said, we're not even going to call them competitors anymore. We're going to call them leeches. And so that's what he calls them. That's what he refers to them as. That's what we're referred to them as well. But the key is, the thing to understand is that not one of these leeches machines makes the 11.5 water or the 2.5 water. Now, they make an alkaline that's like an 11 pH or so, whatever, but it's really not a solid 11.5 pH, and the 2.5 pH that they make, it's not hypochlorous acid because it does not add the electrolysis enhancer. None of these machines have the electrolysis enhancer, and that's what they like to say, oh, it adds chemicals to the water. Yeah, it adds salt water, sodium chloride, yay, okay, whatever, you know. But this is the key. If you can get a chance, this would be something really cool to do. Take over yourself a bottle of nice, fresh sesame oil. Take over some 3 or 4 day old 11.5 water, and then go over to their place with your little black jug of 11.5 water, and your 2.5, have a bottle of 2.5 water that's pretty new, okay? And then you're going to go over there and you're going to say, let's run the 11.5 water that your machine says it makes, and let's run the 2.5 water. And what you're going to do is get those two waters, and if you can, take over like a small mason jar that you can put a lid on, okay? And run that 2.5 water into that, and you're going to have your bottle of 2.5 water. You're going to have their bottle of 2.5 water, and their 11.5 water, okay? And then you're going to have yourself a couple of little plastic cups. And you're going to take those little plastic cups, you're going to put a little bit of that sesame oil in each one of them. And then you're going to take their 11.5 water, you're going to pour it in there, and that oil is going to go right to the top, and you're going to see that nice little skim on top. You're going to pour that 11.5 water in there, and that sesame oil is going to turn white, and it's going to completely emulsify. And they're going to go, what the hell? And then you're going to take that 2.5 water that came out of their machine, that's got the lid on it, and you're going to shake that sucker up. And you're going to open up the lid and have them smell it. And it's just going to smell like water. And you're going to do the same thing with your 2.5 water. You're going to shake that bugger up. You're going to open it up, and they're going to go, whoa, shit, man, you know. And they're going to see right then and there from those two simple little experiments that their machine is not Kangen water. Because these machines make an 11.5 pH and they make a 2.5 pH, but that's all they are. They're not the super powered oil emulsifying 11.5 pH, because it can't even actually get to a real 11.5, because it has to have that electrolysis enhancer to be able to get up to that high of a pH. And then to get down that low and it has to have the salt to create hypochlorous acid. Okay, if it doesn't have that, it's just 2.5 acid water. It is not hypochlorous acid. It is not the electrolyzed oxidizing water that comes out of the Kangen machine. So if you get a chance, you know, this is the thing about this is good stuff that we can all use. If you can get a chance to do it, you know, I would really try to do that. And the reason why as well is not only for getting some really cool information that you can share out that we can all use, but you're also keeping the line of communication open with them so that because this is what you don't want to have happen. You don't want them to have that machine go bad on them, which it's going to, and then they like feel embarrassed or whatever, and they don't want to come back to you because they're just embarrassed or whatever, and so they go somewhere else and buy a machine from somebody else, and you end up losing the sale that you should have had if you keep those lines of communication open, and just let them know, hey, I'm just trying to learn. I want to know about my competition. That's the thing. I'm hoping you'll let me learn from what you did, because quite frankly, like I told a lady I ran into the other day, she said she paid $5,000 for some other machine that's not a Kangen machine. And I told her, well, I'd sure love to see what that machine is. I'd love to know what it is, because I want to know about my competition. If your machine's better than my machine, I want to be able to sell your machine.
Yeah.
I want to sell your machine if that's, and then the other thing about these other machines, they don't offer any kind of compensation plan at all. If you tell somebody else about that machine, they say, hey, thank you, cha-ching. But you're not going to get a commission for it. And so there's just so many things about the difference between Kangen water and everything else out there that basically, just like Dr. Michael said, there is no competition, none. And so we've got this product that everybody needs, nobody has, with no competition in the world. What the heck else could you ask for as a business? I mean, every other business out there in the world that I can think of has all kinds of competitors, all kinds of different options, all kinds of, so it's just a massive maze of competition where we don't have anybody who competes with us, baby. So we got it all, man.
Well, it really makes me wonder, like Mr. Oshiro, I would love to pick his brain, someday, or have an opportunity to just be in his presence and absorb that energy, because there has to be, to have that kind of vision for the future, when so much has changed. When this company started, we didn't have smartphones. When this company started, like, literally, we had any of the technology that we have now, truthfully, 45 years ago, like 46 now? Or correct me, I'm confused. Is it 45? They just celebrated their 45.
Just had the 45-year anniversary.
So much has changed in the last 45 years, but this business model is perfect for the times. I've been really just engulfed in this whole, like, great awakening, new enlightenment, change of consciousness. Like, I see it every day with the juice bar, with the people coming in, with Kong's water. People are looking for a new path. And just like I told you before, the quote that changed my life was, old ways don't open new doors. And we're in a position right now where we're desperate for new doors. And Mr. Oshiro saw that this would be an opportunity 45 years before we even knew it, before we even knew we needed it. And I love it because we're in the age of the entrepreneur, you know, and I've said it, I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. The industrial age is over, and now this is the information age. It's the age of free thinkers, because we've got, you know, most people are got their heads buried in their phones, or they're scrolling through Netflix, or they're, you know, watching, you know, Judge Judy or whatever. And they're not using that big old brain that they've got, you know, and it's a powerful tool that we all have. And most of them are shut down, you know, or they're on airplane mode. And so, but mine, you know, I want my brain to be working and stimulated every day. And I'm starting, you know, conversations with people, and I'm really getting to know people on a personal level. And these people, they want change. They want something different. And, you know, we're in a position to offer them, you know, because like I had a conversation last night with someone who has all of these, you know, acidic health issues like gout and osteoporosis and arthritis and just all these things. And he's young. I mean, I don't know how old he is. He's got to be 32, you know, at the most. And he's suffering. And I mean, his 40s are going to really suck if he doesn't change his ways. And he admitted to me, it's hard. And I said, you're right, man. I know it's hard. Trust me, I know. I said, but you know what's easy is just changing your water. And it's a really good place to start. And I told him, and I know a lot of us say it, you know, our body is 70% water. So you could go vegan, you could go raw vegan, and that's still only 30% of the solution, because there's a whole nother 70% that we don't even talk about. And you, JJ, me, all of our friends and the people that we know, we're trying to change that. You know, we're talking about that more than anyone, more than anything. And it's a great place to start. And so, you know, but for me, and I mentioned this before, and I know you originally wanted me to talk about my care home, and we'll start doing that right now, because I didn't, you know, like my buddy that I was talking to yesterday, he is having a hard time cutting out the dairy. And I told him, I said, you know, dairy nowadays is just incredibly acidic. I said, the way that they treat it with the hormones and the antibiotics and, you know, just the whole processing, anything processed is going to be acidic, and it's going to promote mucus. It's going to promote inflammation. It's going to promote all of this stuff. And I said, but for me, you know, I didn't even get started in the drinking water. I was as stubborn as he was with my Reese's peanut butter cups. You know, I didn't want to give them up. And, but what got me involved was the cleaning water, like we've been talking about, the 11.5 and the 2.5. That got my attention. And I was able to change my laundry detergent before I changed my water, before I changed my life. So you don't want to go raw vegan? Fine. You don't want to, you know, drink Kong's water? Fine. But are you using cleaning product? Are you inhaling all those chemicals? Are you using those chemicals to wash your clothes, and then you put those clothes on your children and you wonder why they have, you know, dermatitis? You know what I mean? Like, who knows? But there's all of these other things that we don't realize. Like before Kong's water, I was a habitual hand sanitizer, you know, Bed Bath and Body Works. I had the cucumber melon on deck all the time. You know, that stuff smells good. Pomegranate, apple cinnamon in the Christmas time, you know, but I was just putting those chemicals into my body. And then you know, who knows why I had those headaches, but that may have been the reason why, you know, who knows. But there's all these chemicals, and we're Febreze, you know, I kept a Febreze in my car only because I just hate that stale, no smell. You know, I don't know if anyone can relate to the smell of there not being a fresh smell, but I always wanted to Febreze my room, my bed, my whatever, because it felt clean and it felt good and just felt good. But those chemicals, you know, and who knows what that was doing to my body. And when we ingest those things, they manifest themselves in multitude of ways, in arthritis or, you know, headaches, migraines, you know, whatever. You never know what those chemicals, where they're going to land or how they're going to affect you based on your genetic makeup or your whatever, you know. So for me, going chemical free was the easiest thing that I did, because I was spending so much money on all of these products just to be clean and to be fresh. And then I discovered Kong's water, and I eliminated, more than $200 a month just worth of cleaning product. And then I figured out that I could wash my vegetables in this stuff and how necessary that was. I wanted to change so I would make salads or try to eat more vegetables. And then when I found out how many chemicals I was consuming just from the pesticides and the herbicides and all of that garbage, when I saw the quality of that 11.5 water after I cleaned my strawberries, I really got sick to my stomach just by looking at all those chemicals, because my whole life I knew that I had been eating them. And, to think that that could have played a role in some of my health issues, it almost got me angry, because, I didn't choose to have those chemicals. I didn't say, I never had the option for chemical free, and I would be negligent and choose chemical when I had the option for chemical free strawberries. They don't put that on the label. And so when I started washing my berries and my greens and my cucumbers, oh my gosh, the cucumbers, the water, the 11.5 after cucumbers and apples, you can see the oil. Like when there's oil on the driveway or in the parking lot, and it kind of has those squiggly lines, you can see the light reflecting in it. That's what the water looks like after I wash my apples. And then the apples taste so much better. And so, like in my foster home, I was trying to give my residents, lots of vegetables. Always, I would make crock pot meals because I had 5 residents, and, I didn't like to cook anyways. I wasn't really a person that enjoyed cooking. It was more of a chore. And so I really implemented the crock pot. And when I started making those crock pot meals with Kong's water, they tasted so much better. And I wouldn't even call myself a novice chef, like that's even above my pay grade. But Kong's water helped me become more gourmet than I had ever thought possible, because of how the water brings out all those natural flavors. And then my residents were being fed, they were able to absorb all of those good natural nutrients and without having to consume those pesticides and those chemicals. And it's those little changes, and over time they equal big changes. And, if you got to change your ways if you want to open those new doors. So
yeah, amen.
There's a lot of applications, and changing your food and making all these big changes, they're hard, but there's a lot of little changes that you can make. And with this water, it gives you an opportunity to really impact your life and the life of your family. And with my care home, like it's a business, of course, but it's a business of taking care of people. And that's what we're doing with Kong's water. And to be able to have a tool in my toolbox to, improve the quality of the people that are in my care, I didn't hesitate to make that decision, because I was always advocating for them and their health. And when I learned that I could go chemical free and still be clean and sanitize and, remain that high quality that I was used to.
So I'm curious about something, because I told you the other day when we had this discussion about coming on here today, I want to go after where I live here in Sandy, Utah, or excuse me, Utardia. There are old folks' homes all over the place, man. I've got at least 5 or 6 of them within a matter of like 5 blocks of my house. And I want to start going and talking to these people and trying to get in the door and get these things in there. But I wanted to talk to you about what are if there were, like, for example, just one little thing that I learned from Gerald Kostica about restaurants. He says, always remember the points that really matter to the restaurant owner. He says, how can this make more money for my restaurant? How can this save my restaurant money? How can this improve the quality of the food that I serve? How can this help me reduce risk and liability? How can this give me a competitive edge? How can this help my customers? And so those are, 6 points that as I'm going out and talking to restaurants, I'm talking to them about those things. I'm not talking to them about drinking water and antioxidants and, that kind of thing, because they're not interested in that kind of subject. They're not interested in health problems. They're interested in what can make their restaurant more money for the most part.
Let me pause you right there. And I get that. And I understand it. There's two aspects. There's the business side, and then there's the humanitarian side. But honestly, like, I would say to any restaurant owner, and you just said it right now, like, I don't care about health. Well, your customers do, because I'll tell you, I bring my own water into restaurants, and I know a lot of people who drink Kong's water, they don't drink the water that the restaurants provide. But you know what else? They're cooking in that same water. I won't order the soup either, because I know you made that soup in your city tap water. And I know there's fecal matter, there's chlorine, there's chemicals, there's leftover pharmaceuticals in that city water. And now they're in my soup too. So no, thank you. I don't want the soup. How'd you make your chicken? Did you make it in that same water? Nope, don't want that either. So guess what? I don't go to your restaurant and that's the truth, is I don't go to a lot of restaurants. I come to the juice bar when I need my food, or I make the sacrifice, but it's always a decision in my mind. And quite frankly, I just don't go out anymore, And so maybe you don't care as a restaurant owner, but you're going to
Whatever
and so for me, what's that?
I was just going to say you kind of locked up right there, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, internet. No, I know. I got the internet message for some reason. I don't know. I think anytime people like us are spreading truth, JJ, the internet gods somehow try to find a way to intervene. I've been listening to a lot of truth tellers on the YouTubes, and they're having a lot of trouble with Zoom. So I mean, I don't know. Anytime we go up against the establishment, it seems like Zoom starts having trouble. So we'll figure that out. Honestly, JJ, I'm proud to offer Kangen water to my customers because it tells them that I care about them, that I'm willing to investment into their health. And if you're too stubborn or too, uptight to want to make an investment into your customers' health by improving the quality of your food, and I can tell you for a fact, JJ, I put Kangen water in every single one of the smoothies that we make. We make the ice out of Kangen's water. We fill up like 16 ice cube trays because we haven't figured out a commercial size ice maker. We don't know how to implement Kong's water into that yet. So we're doing it the old fashioned way until we can. But we're doing ice cube trays, and we put the ice in the smoothies. And just like the Kangen water, when you do the tea bag in the water and it makes the tea, it really breaks down the tea and infuses it in water. We know about Kong's brings out the flavor of the coffee. You can use less grounds. And the same theory, I believe, is because it really brings out the natural flavors of the fruit. And we don't use syrups. We don't use sugars. We just use the fruit and Kong's water. And it brings out the flavors. And so when you consume that product, because of Kong's water, your body's going to be able to absorb those nutrients a lot better. I truly believe that. And so for us, we save money on the chemicals. We're chemical free, we don't have to, but we don't do meat. We don't cook, like we're raw here. So I can't speak on, for restaurants who have things like that, but a day because it's going to clean those oxidized fats and grease off the stove a lot better than any detergent or any spray that you're already purchasing.
Yeah. I had an interesting meeting last Wednesday with a Korean barbecue place here it's a sushi bar and also a Korean barbecue. And I got an appointment with the owner, but then she didn't end up showing up. And so I ended up being able to give a demonstration to the manager, which is not as good because he's not a decision maker. But yeah, they had these pitchers full of water up on their bar. That's the water they go pour drinking water to people. And I said, can we do a little something with that? And we poured some of that water into a cup, and then I took some chlorine drops and put it in there, and that shit turned just piss yellow, man. And I'm going, look at that. This is what you're feeding your people. And the thing is, this is the sad part about that kind of thing, is he really didn't care. He saw it and he went, wow, but he really didn't care. Yeah. Like, I don't care that I'm serving this poison to people. I don't care, but what he was interested in is he was interested in the emulsification of the oil and the possibility, because when I used his water, I did that little oil test, and his water that he uses to clean his grills with and all that kind of stuff and do all of his cleaning with it, it had a nice little film of oil on the top. And then when I poured the Kong water in there, it just went, he was like, what the heck is that? And so that was the part he was interested in. And, he didn't even care that his water was full of chlorine. He didn't, some people just simply, it doesn't register with them, or they don't understand what the problem is with that.
Well, that's like what I said earlier, JJ, we're too zoomed in. We're too, we need to zoom out and see the full picture. And I think generally most people, they've got, and I mean, like we're not open-minded anymore. Not the majority of us anyway. I mean, the minority of us are open-minded and free thinkers and looking for other avenues. But most people, I think the word is complacent. They just get used to just being the way it is, and change is scary and just all these things. But, we choose the path of least resistance, and it's easy to just not care. It's easy to only focus on what you're focused on instead of zooming out, because then, people just get overwhelmed, I think, and people feel helpless, and people realize, or sometimes they think to themselves that they're not able. More people, there goes internet connection again. But I think more and more people are going to just be opening their eyes. It's a slow process, but just like with anything else, there's momentum. Then we're picking up a lot of momentum, and I know you feel it. I see it all around me, so as time goes on, and because we have Kong's water and we have it every day, and we want to share it with the world, and we want to really help a lot of people, I think sometimes we get a little impatient, and we are going to change the world, JJ, but it's going to take some time, I think. The world is pretty rigid.
Yeah, I agree with you there, buddy. And, the thing is like, because I'm the exact same way. I don't like going out to restaurants anymore. I mean, some of my favorite places to eat, I don't even want to eat there anymore, just because I don't want to eat the tainted food. I don't want to, like one of my favorite places is a Greek restaurant. And I don't want to go eat there anymore because I don't want to eat their tainted tomatoes, their tainted salad, their tainted rice, their tainted everything, And the guy that runs this place is a really good friend of mine. And I'm trying to get him to get a dang machine and, pull his head out of his butt. But right now we're in the middle of a tile job that I'm helping him with. And, he's got that on his brain. But once we get that all wrapped up this weekend, then he'll have everything back to normal. And then it'll be time to dig back into this again. But I mean, he's spending $200 a month on two things: Clorox and chemical degreasers. $200 a month.
There's your people right there.
You could use Enagic financing and get yourself a super 501 for this place, and you'd never have to buy that again. And your payment each month on, if you used Enagic financing, would be $220 a month for the next 24 months, and then it's paid off. And so there you go, right there, and you won't have to do that anymore. But there's so many reasons why he wants to use this, and that's why that's one of the reasons why I want to get out there and get after restaurants, is because I want to be able to go to a restaurant that has Kangen water. that
Well,
uses this water, and period. And if you know, if you don't want to use this water, I don't want to go to your damn restaurant.
and that's what it's going to come down to eventually, JJ, because I mean, you might know the statistics. I know you talked about them, but how much has this company grown in the last 5 years, right? And the way things are moving, the last 5 years is nothing compared to the next 5 years. So if already right now today, you know, it's a small percentage, but there is already a large group of people who are thinking like me and like you, and we're not going to go to these restaurants anymore. And it's not about boycotting. It's not about, you know, I'm going to put my foot down until you get your machine. I'm not going to go to your restaurant. No, it's that I care about myself. I care about my health. For the first time in my life, I'm making these active choices to remove these chemicals from my life. And I'm sorry, you know, if you're going to be serving chemicals, then I'm going to have to say no, thank you. And I'm doing it respectively. I'm not doing it because of any agenda. I'm doing it simply because finally, after 30 years, I love myself enough to say no, thank you. And there's going to be a lot more people who feel that way. This is only the beginning. You know, in 5 years, just like I said, if the last 5 years have progressed the way they have, then the next 5 years it's gonna show exponential growth. And so it's not gonna be, you know, think about the last 10 years. You know, 10 years ago we were introduced to the iPhone, and now you know, their laundry, people are going to be starting to move towards a more chemical-free life. And if you jump on it now, you're going to be one of the first. I was just talking to a gym owner the other day. She could very well be the very first gym on the Oregon coast with Kong's water. We're the very first juice bar on the Oregon coast with Kong's water, like literally. And so it's not going to be long. I'm going to be able to say that for a short period of time, because my goal is to.
Oh, we lost him. What do you say there, Rodgar?
Yeah, no, he's back, looks like.
We lost you there, brother.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, anytime we're spreading truth.
So get this, dude. I want to, because I really do want to get a little bit into this as far as the care homes. And what I was hoping to get out of you today is just, you know, like with these 6 points that Jerry puts into this thing about restaurants. What are like 5 things or something, you know, a few things, like for somebody like me that's going to go talk to these, because I've got a couple of cards right here from the lady that, or I've got a number and everything for an administrator right here that you know, she's running the care home that's right up the street here, and I need to get a hold of her, but I'm trying to figure out what are like the things that you as a care home operator, what were like the 5 main things that you are utilizing this for that made it so that it was, you know, I mean, what am I supposed to tell these people? Like when it comes to restaurants, I know what I want to talk to them about, but as far as a care home is concerned, I'm not positive what those like 5-star items would be that I want them, that they're going to care most about. Because you know how it is when it comes to this kind of stuff. People, you know, they just care about what they care about. You got to know what they care about to be able to help them fix that, right? And so we need those little bullet points that they want a little piece of information. I can give them a sheet that says, you know, save money on your laundry, save money on your cleaning, save, you know, help the health of your people, blah, blah. You know, what is it? What are the main things that you as a care home operator that you felt were most compelling about Kangen water?
Well, so, and I won't direct this to you, JJ. I'll look into the camera and I'll try to do my best and just speak to anyone who is I'm talking to your administrator right now, you know, and I'm saying that you wouldn't be doing the job that you have if you didn't care. because elderly care it requires a level of patience, especially nowadays with the Alzheimer's and dementia. That is very, very, very common, and I see it constantly. People are getting diagnosed, but what we fail to realize is the brain is 85% at that age. One of the very first things to go once you're at that age is your sense of thirst. And so a lot of people in their elderly years, they don't necessarily feel thirsty, or they don't have the desire to drink water. And that's the truth. Most of my residents, they want coffee, they want juice, they want it went a long way. And so for anyone who's giving, if you look at the tops of the elderly people's hands, you can just see the dehydration in their hands. You can see it in their skin, you can see it under their eyes, you can see it in their mouth. And so right off the bat, getting the elderly to drink the water is very important, because what else is common with elderly? UTIs and inability to sleep, aggravation, irritation, things like that. And a lot of it I know has to just do with dehydration. But then saving money on detergents, like I said, hand sanitizer. I started using the Kong's water for mouthwash. Basically, I just got Peggy Parker's protocol books, and I started following them, because that was the only reference. So I started eliminating hand sanitizers. I was able to eliminate my Pine Sols, my bleach water. I started doing the laundry. I was using Tide Pods. I was using Pine Sol, a little bit of bleach. Another thing, stains. They're constantly spilling over the juice, or accidents at nighttime. So I was doing stain removal, and I was able to use the 2.5. It breaks down the proteins in the stains. 11.5 breaks down the oils. And so my carpet cleaner, I was doing Arm & Hammer, baking soda in the carpet before I would vacuum, and I got rid of that. And it's just, and then not only that, but I had asthmatics too. We've got these elderly who suffer from different respiratory issues, and I never really thought about it, but they're breathing in all these chemicals. And really, it's just a benefit to go chemical free. And then to market, for marketing and advertisement, a lot of people, especially the grandkids of your residents, they hear chemical free, their ears gonna perk up a little bit, and that's gonna be a deciding factor for them. Because as you have these young people who are making a decision whether or not to put their loved ones in your care home, and they're gonna care about chemical free. That's a word right now that people are looking for. And to be able to market your facility or your care home as chemical free, that's gonna be important to a lot of people, and I know it would be to me. And so to eliminate all of those things, you're going to save yourself some money. You're going to offer your clients a quality of water that you can't find anywhere else. And that's going to improve their life. And honestly, it's going to improve your life, because, and there's a saying that we might all be familiar with, but happy wife, happy life. But the truth is when you're taking care of these residents and you have their care in your hands, your happiness a lot of times depends on theirs. And your health depends on theirs too, in most cases. And so if you're able to offer, a better just quality of life for the people that you're already breaking your back for, then it's going to help you help them. And that's going to help everyone for sure, and to be able to, and, so we can go even further. And I don't make any medical claims. I know that a lot of distributors were really stressing on really not making any medical claims. But a lot of my residents were non-ambulatory, which means they are sitting a lot, you know, and we do physical therapy and stuff, but regardless, they're sitting a lot. And so these are residents who are in their wheelchairs. They're not able to get up and move independently. So in the creases of their belly folds and the creases of their legs, it's real common, especially with residents who are incontinent, for them to develop some skin breakdown or some like yeast type infections. You know, just skin issues are very common. If you have a patient who is bedbound, you know, they call them decubitus ulcers, you know, those skin breakdown. It's real common, and you have to rotate them as they're laying in their bed every hour or every 45 minutes. You need to do pillow placement. And even though you can do everything in your possibility to avoid these ulcers, these skin breakdowns, in most cases, especially home health and hospice, which I did a lot of, me, wound care was really important because I was using these chemical wound cleaners, and to think that now I have an option to go chemical free and still do as good of job, if not better, cleaning the wounds, cleaning the bacteria, rehydrating the skin and the wound. That was just another tool against my fight against the dying process, you know, and it helped increase my ability to maintain that high level of care. And so wound care, very important. We were using those niastatin powders for, you know, to avoid the yeasty type infections that they were getting in their belly folds, and always the powders, and creams. Any caregiver knows all about them. And 2.5, I sprayed some 2.5 on the inner, you know, thigh of the gentleman. He's an amputee, non-ambulatory, and the powder always worked, but the infection would always come back. And we'd put more powder, and a couple months later it'd come back. We did just a couple days of the 2.5, and it has yet to come back. And it's been a year. And so for us, like, we don't have to use the powders anymore. You know, that's saving him and his insurance, right? We have all these problems with people overutilizing the insurance companies because we're needing to constantly get these powders and these creams and these things. And, you know, we can't afford them anymore. And it's getting harder and harder out there, and we're poisoning ourselves. I sprayed 2.5 on this guy's, you know, inner thigh, that crease, and his infection is gone and hasn't come back. And so we were battling for like 6 years using the creams and the powders, and Kong's water defeated it pretty quick. So, I mean, across the board, you get yourself Peggy Parker's protocol book, and you can go chemical free in your entire life and just improve of everyone around you. And that's what you're trying to do anyways. So might as well do it better. You know, that's it.
Yeah. She's actually going to be coming on the show now once a month.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have her coming on.
I hope that helps, JJ. I mean, I would love to give you like a list of things, but you know, when I started using Kong's water, it wasn't just like, I mean, it was just like kind of like a shotgun approach, you know, just spray and pray. And I started using this water for everything that I possibly could. And now looking back a year later, I can see the vast difference that it's made. But to be able to break it down in a list, I mean, you can, but really it's just as simple as improving quality of life. And you're already trying to do that in your care home. That's your goal, is to be an advocate for these people and do your best to either maintain or improve their quality of their life. And if you're not doing that, then you shouldn't be caregiving or shouldn't be having a care facility anyways, truthfully. And if you're, you know, sacrificing yourself, which most caregivers do, if you're sacrificing yourself because you love your residents and you love your people and you want to give them the best quality care, then you're not, because you're not giving them Kong's water. You know, you're using chemicals, you're spending money when you shouldn't be, and you're inadvertently poisoning yourself and your residents, and you don't even know it.
Yeah. You know, and the thing is it's like this lady right here, this administrator, Joanne. I seriously doubt that this lady ever has to deal with patients at all. I seriously doubt it. I bet just looking at the place, there's a big upstairs area, and then all the people are downstairs, and they've got this upstairs area. This is where all their offices are. And I guarantee you that this lady, she spends all of her time upstairs in her office. I doubt she ever sees a patient or anything like that. Her job is to just do whatever her job is to do. And I guarantee you her job isn't washing the laundry, treating the wounds, seeing any of that, dealing with bed sores, whatever the ailments might be. I guarantee you she's not the one dealing with it. Her only thing is money, money, money. I guarantee it. And that kind of thing, we've got to, to be able to get into a person like that's brain cell, we got to figure out what buttons to push that are going to be interesting to her. Because I guarantee you her thing is all going to be about bottom line, and she's not interested in, she probably could give two hoots about the people that are in her place. She just wants to make sure that their insurance company's paying her, or that their family is paying her every month. And that's kind of my guess. I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong, but there's only one way to find out. And
what I would do,
figure out how to hit those hot buttons that are going to be interesting to somebody like that.
Is just share the water with the residents. Every single one of those residents are allowed to have guests, and they love to have guests. So if you bring your enthusiasm into that care facility and just introduce yourself to those residents, because every single one of them, if it's a facility, I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of different facilities. There's nursing homes, there's assisted livings, there's independent living, there's like different levels of care. So depending on the level of care, if it's a nursing home, don't talk to the administrator, talk to the nurse, talk to the RN, because they're the ones doing the wound care. They're the ones doing all the wound cleaning, and the nurse is the one that's going to advocate for her patients more than the administrator.
Right. That's a dang good point, brother. Thank you for that. That's just a whole new direction to take, because quite frankly, I really care about these people, and I want to help them. And I got to figure out the right way to go about it, so I really appreciate it. I mean, you've been cutting out quite a bit because of your internet connection, and that's no big deal, because we pretty much have still gotten the gist of what we need to talk about, and what we were hoping to talk about. And one thing I'd really love to do, maybe for another show sometime soon, if you wouldn't mind, because I think this kind of stuff is going to be really important for helping people to be able to get, restaurants and these kind of homes and that kind of stuff on board, is by, the whole point of this show is to share stories. That's the main thing that we're trying to do here with the Kong family. Is we're trying to share stories, and we're trying to educate and that kind of thing. And so, one thing that I think has been fairly powerful for people that are going after restaurants is testimonies from restaurant owners. I don't know if you've seen that video called The Secret Sauce, but if you haven't seen it, you want to see it. It's like 15 minutes long, and it's like 3 or 4 different restaurant owners talking about how they utilize Kangen water in their restaurant, talking about how it improves their food, just all the great things. It's a really awesome video. And, one of our big things is to try and get people to view that so that they can see it. And, so like your place, you're at the juice bar, being able to do a live show from there, get it recorded, where we do, 5 minutes or something, no more than 10 minutes, where you're showing live how you utilize Kangen water in your juice bar to be able to benefit, and why you're doing it, and that kind of thing. I'd love to be able to do a show one day live from the juice bar, because that can be a promotion not only for the juice bar, but also something that can help other distributors to be able to get in there. Because ultimately, brother, you and I, we're the same way. I want Kangen water in all restaurants, man. I want to be able to go to any restaurant and have Kangen water in there, so I know dang well I'm not eating all these garbage poisons and such, right? So ultimately, that's my goal. And I know for a fact that just like with the cell phone, where most people 10 years ago or whatever, they were running around with a flip phone. You know, flip that baby open, yam, 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 yammer up the store and flip it closed. You know, oh, no, I don't need no smartphone. No, I don't need that. Oh, no, 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 no. Now, all of those, how many people you see that has a dang flip phone nowadays? You don't see hardly anybody has them. And so, you know, it's just a matter of the evolution of understanding as people start to understand this technology, as restaurants, you know, as one restaurant does it, the next one's going to be like, oh my God, I got to keep up with the Joneses. And they're going to want theirs, you know. And so it's just a matter of getting into the doors and getting it out there and helping promote it as well. You know, because like Jerry was telling me about a restaurant that he went to, it's in California there somewhere, that he went into him and he said, what's your slowest time of the day? And they said between 2 and 4. And he said, well, we're going to turn that into your busiest and most profitable time of the day. And in that first year of utilizing Kangen water, promoting it and such, they ended up making, during those 2 hours of the day, they did an accounting of those 2 hours of the day for the first year. And in that first year, they made an additional 50 grand during those 2 hours of the day. And needless to say, they're pretty excited about that because, you know, people coming in to get water decided, hey, maybe I'll eat. I'm hungry. It smells good in here, you know. And so they sold a lot of food during those 2 hours. They sold a lot of machines during those 2 hours, from just having people coming in for water shares to fill up their bottomless carafes and that kind of thing. They were selling these glasses that had lids on them, whatever, these glass carafes. You come in every day between 2 and 4 and refill them for free. And so they made money off of selling those glass carafes that had the name of their restaurant on them. So those glass carafes were going out there being advertising for them. And, you know, proudly serving Kangen water out on the thing, you know. And so, yeah, there's a lot of advantages that, you know, if we could go live from the juice bar one day and do just a short, maybe 10-minute thing where you're the star of the show and you just go in and tell everybody why you're doing what you're doing. And then another thing I wanted to give you just a hint about, or a thought process maybe, as far as being able to incorporate Kangen water into your ice machine. If you could hook up, which I believe there's definitely going to be a way that you can do it, because your ice machine, just like the ice machine here in my fridge or my freezer, if I were to hook a K8 up to that water supply, so that water supply is going through the K8 and then into the ice maker, and it's got its own shut-off mechanism that turns it on and shuts it off. As soon as that ice maker tells the K8 that it wants water and it turns the pressure on, then the K8 turns on. And it'll fill up until that thing tells it to stop, and then a few seconds later, the K8 turns itself off again. And so literally, if you had a K8 hooked up to your ice maker, you would now have, every time your ice maker says, give me water, then the K8 will give it water, and then it will shut off, and the K8 will shut off. And that's how you could be able to incorporate that into your ice maker, and you would be able to just have you wouldn't have to be filling up ice trays. You would have it running and working with Kangen water if you were to use a K8. And that's
the goal, JJ. I mean,
yeah.
We're not even done with our first year yet. You know, we're still within our.
And what machine are you using in your juice bar? Are you using an SD501?
And then we've got 2 SD501s up front, and we use them but for the actual like business juice bar operation, we have a super. And I mean, honestly, that's been a blessing because we do so much veggie wash that we need the additional, you know, chamber for the cleaning waters. And so I wouldn't get anything less than a super for commercial use because of how often
Unfortunately, you're cutting out and we're not catching most of what you just said there.
Sorry, JJ.
So you said you have a super in the back and then you have 2 SD501s out in the front?
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious because I'm not all that familiar with the super. does it turn itself on and off the same way that the K8 does?
I don't know. We don't use it continuously. We activate it. You know, we press the Kangen button and Kangen water comes out, or acidic water comes out. But we don't have it like continuously going like how you're describing with the K8. But it's just handy for us because we make so much cleaning water. We're washing so much vegetables. We're doing a lot of the 11.5. And we use quite a bit of the 2.5, but really the 11.5 is where we're getting our money's worth. And being able to switch back and forth between and then the cleaning water without having to wait for a cleaning cycle in between, it just really helps. And then also the quantity of the 11.5 that we're producing, it's really beneficial to have the super. So.
Oh, absolutely. When I'm talking to you about the K8, as far as it's just what I'm talking about is just being able to convert your ice machine so that it would, then it would just turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. Because I know this about the K8 is you have it hooked up to its own water source. Because like for me, I like that person you were talking about with the granite countertop. I guarantee you that a hole can be drilled in that granite countertop. Guarantee it. Yeah. I know I could do it. I've been doing tile for 25 years, and I've drilled holes into every dang kind of solid surface countertop you can think of, and you can, that I sent you the thing that I use to hook up my machine, and I'll tell you what, it is so nice having Kangen water with his own. I always say Kong has his own waterfall to drink from. Yeah,
I think the problem with them is that they're renting their house, and so they don't have the homeowner's approval to drill into the countertop. And so they're saying that they would either have to move or something. And then the faucets are so modern that, they're not sure if there's an adapter. And so we're trying to figure that out. But
here's another option for you. Here's another option. And this is what I'm talking about doing with one of my sisters, because my other sister is so adamantly against Kangen water that my one sister lives with my other sister in a sectioned off part of the house that has its own kitchen and bath. And my one sister said, you're not hooking that thing up here. No way, you're not hooking it up. And I told my sister, I said, look, you don't even have to hook it up. You can get your Kangen water with an aquarium pump and a couple of 3.5 gallon buckets.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, you could literally get your water by just simply having a couple of buckets and an aquarium pump. And that's really all you would need if if you're serious about getting your Kangen water, where there's a will, there's a way. And you could suggest to them that for now, you just, you could show them how they can get a freaking $30 aquarium pump, throw it down in a bucket of water, and then pump it to another bucket, pump it to whatever you're putting it in. It's simple and easy. You could do it if you wanted to. It might take, you might have to have 3 buckets, because you need a bucket with your source water, you need a bucket for your good water, and you need a bucket for your discharge water. Mm-hmm. And so, but it just depends on how bad they want it. If they want it bad enough, they'll be happy to deal with 3 clean buckets, and just, when you're done, you're done. You just, take the buckets, pour them into the sink, put them back together, and, put them over there with their aquarium pump in them, and, whatever. That's a possibility. I just figured I'd throw that out there, because that's what I recommend to like all the truckers, like my buddy Scott Wood, that's a trucker. He really needs to get himself another machine, so he's got one out on the road when he's out on the road, and that's how he can deal with it. He just plugs in his aquarium pump, runs his water each day for the day, and he's good to go.
That's really smart, but I think it goes back to just like the way that I keep saying the nature of people. Like right now, so many people are just looking for the path of least resistance. And that right there, that just to most people seems like a daunting task. And we need to really just try to encourage people, I think, in general, to just think outside the box and not be so complacent with their thoughts and their actions, and instead of always looking for the easy way out, you know. And you're right. I mean, that's right there. That's like MacGyver's guide to Kangen water, you know, like you figure it out, you know, use a couple of 3-gallon buckets, you know, like if you care about your health, you're going to find a way.
Yeah. Amen, brother. And, you know,
Aquarium pumps ways.
that's only going to be a temporary thing. So eventually, if they're renting, they're going to be moving somewhere else, and
Yeah.
they could be starting to build their empire already.
Yeah, and that could actually give them an avenue towards buying their own home, you know, started from the bottom, now we're here, you know, like remember that time we had a 3-gallon bucket and an aquarium pump, you know, now we're living on an oceanfront beach in Malibu.
Yeah, exactly, brother. Right on the money, man. So yeah, buddy, I love you so much. I love your attitude. I love your passion. And, you know, it's like I told you the first time we met, I just love all you youngins that are getting after this. And I wish I would have known about it when I was 30 years old. You know, but hey, we all know what we know when we know it, and we don't know what we don't know. So we got to try and learn.
And once you know, you can't unknow, JJ.
Exactly, brother. Exactly. And so, you know, I hope to be able to put together, I hope you can roll with it at some point. It seems to me that it'd be something that you'd really love to do. I'd love to help you do it, be part of it. And, you know, my whole thing is I just want to promote this water in every way, shape, and form possible. I want to help as many people as possible. And this just seems like such an awesome way to do it. And I'd really love to do a promotional video from your juice bar.
That'd be awesome. I'd be willing to do that. I'd be more than willing to do that. I know Ann from up in Seattle is planning a trip down here pretty soon. Liz just stopped in on her way down to California. So I'm really hoping to put together a nice little, you know, sort of event here at the juice bar soon, definitely before the summer's over. But in the meantime, before that, we could go live during business hours while we're in the thick of things and just, you know, for like you said, 5-10 minutes, and just show, you know, even during a busy time, why not, you know, and have one of my customers hold the phone for me and just show us, you know, making the smoothies and using the water. And I mean, it gets busy in here pretty quick, and that'd be a good time for us to go live. So I'll keep that in mind, you know, and I'll keep you on speed dial and let you know.
Yeah, I'll keep bothering you about it. I'll keep nudging you. Come on, brother. Let's do it. Let's do it.
That's okay. Sometimes I need it.
Yeah, no time like the present to get things done, you know. And I really believe it'll be something that will help a lot. And it's also something that can continue to be shared over and over and over and over and over and over as time goes by. And the thing is we just never know whose life we're going to change by doing these shows. I know that doing the episode that we did with Bob Wright, that changed my buddy Steely's life forever. He's my 74-year-old friend who's had 4 heart surgeries, has 1 lung and 1 kidney. And he's been drinking the water now for about a month and a half. And he went in for his checkup, and he called me up going, 118/80, holy crap. And I didn't realize right off the bat what he was talking about, but that was his blood pressure. And he said, I can't even remember ever in my life my blood pressure being 118/80.
Wow.
And, you know, so he's gone from somebody who, I'm never going to tell anybody about the water. I just want the water. But it was Bob Wright's episode that turned on the light bulb, and then talking with Mike Scheiber, the filter doc, was what pushed him off the fence and made him get a machine. And afterwards he joked, he said, if I would have known it was only going to cost me $5,000 to shut you up, I would have bought this thing a couple years ago. Because I just won't shut up about Kangen water. You know, I just can't.
I say that all the time here at the juice bar. I say it's real easy to get me started, but what's real hard is getting me to stop. So talking about Kangen water is just easy. But I want to give you an update before you go, though. Check out how the sweet potatoes are doing. So
Oh,
this one
moly.
here, it's wrapped around the juice bar. That's the one in the 9.5 Kongs water.
That's
And
a sweet potato plant, huh?
yeah, sweet potato. And then this one here, it's surviving like most of us, but it's definitely not thriving like the Kongs water. And so I'm just going to leave these here and keep them going for a while. And I'm thinking that this here is going to just travel all along the juice bar. I'm just going to keep going. It's going to wrap itself around the pole and maybe go up there and travel down that way. So we'll see. But I'm giving it the 9.5, and it's
That is classic. The sweet potato plant's going to take over the juice bar.
love it.
Well, brother, man, I sure appreciate you coming in here with us today again, and I look forward to having you on again. You know, I'd really love to. I mean, I love helping promote your juice bar, and of course I love promoting Kangen Water and the Kong family and that kind of thing. But I don't know whether there'd be a possibility down the road. Are you still doing the care center thing, or are you just doing this now full time?
I'm not. Yeah. Yeah, I was in emergency medicine. I transitioned into elderly care, long-term home health and hospice, and now I'm in preventative medicine. And honestly, I'm helping more people now than I ever was before, and I'm doing it in a way that it allows me to help myself in the process. And so for me, I'm not doing that, but I still, my family, my aunt has, so we still have. I'm just sharing water. Denise and I, we have the juice bar, and we're spreading, you know, nutrition and doing it that way too. But yeah, that's about it. So anyways, JJ, I really do have to go now. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm sorry we didn't talk as much as you had hoped about the care homes. But you know, it's not easy. But hold on one second.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, we can schedule a time. I can give it some more thought and go over a little more in detail what I think. But truthfully, like if you're trying to appeal to a large facility and the administrator is the one that needs to make that decision, my guess is to just go to the residents. They're the ones that are going to be drinking the water. They're the ones that need the water, and they're the ones that pay the money. And so if we're paying money for, hey, Rennie, I don't think is that on? The machine? Yeah. Okay. If they're paying money, these facilities are not inexpensive. You know, they're paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, sometimes $5,000 a month to live there, and they're the ones that make that place operational. So if you can start sharing water with the residents and they start feeling good, then they're going to be making the demands, and the administrator's going to have to pull the trigger. Same thing with the nurses. You know, they're the ones doing all the grunt work. They're the ones doing the wound care. You know, they're the ones managing the labs. They know what the blood is doing and how the people, their symptoms are improving or not improving, regardless either way. The administrators, they're so disconnected, and I understand how it is to be in that big facility. But there's a hierarchy there, and just start at the bottom, you know, work your way up. And that's what I would do. But there's also a market for the smaller homes like I have, you know, like if you can go to an adult foster home where they have, you know, 4 or 5 residents, like me and like Denise, you know, we are the ones making those decisions. In some cases, we're the administrator, the nurse, the cook, the housekeeping, you know, like we're all encompassing. So maybe start at the adult foster home level and, you know, just give it time before it reaches to the level of the large facilities. You know, they're too zoomed in, you know, they're not looking at the big picture. So that would be my only advice, is to just start at the bottom and work your way up, like with anything else.
I love it, buddy. Thank you so much, man. This was a very valuable show today, and
Yeah.
sure appreciate you taking your time to come here and share all this great knowledge with us. And, you know, we are the Kong family. We're here to change the world. We're doing it one glass of 9.5 at a time, hydrogen rich, oxygen saturated, incredibly hydrating, 9.5 at a time, one lightning bolt in the box, one incredible person, one incredible guest, one fun show at a time, buddy. And, you know, so thank you so much for doing this with us. And we look forward to the next go round when we can, you know, show off the shop. I'm looking forward to seeing you making stuff and seeing what you're doing. I always want to know how people are doing what they're doing so that I can share more. And, you know, the more we know, the better chance we have of being able to help more people. And so I just want to tell you once again, thanks for coming in. Love you so much. And as, of course, as usual, buddy, do not forget your hugs, buddy. We all need our hugs. There we go. Yes. And your HooDeeHoos. I love you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
The great work.
All right. You take care. You have a good day, and I'll see you.
All right.
HooDeeHooo.
HooDeeHooo.
Thank you.
Bye for now. See you next time.